Next up on The Big Hit, we present to you our very first Crimson Huddle Insider. On this edition, we sat down with Jesse Bosnik, a superstar two-sport athlete in high school who excelled on the hardwood and on the baseball diamond. When he was faced with the decision of choosing between the two, he'd end up sticking to flashing the leather and lacing up his cleats. He went on to play pro in the Dodgers organization, only to end up back on the court just a few years later, playing for Coach Lombardi and the IUP Crimson Hawks. We hope you enjoy the first in a series of Crimson Huddle Insider specials starring Jesse Bosnik. Take it away.
First, the pitch to Bosnik, line right field, base hit. Loons win on a game-winning base hit by Jesse Bosnik. 6-5 your final score, and a bunch of blue shirts coming out. They're jumping up and down in the air and pounding on the helmet of Jesse Bosnik right behind first base.
I was on the couch. I wasn't even thinking about playing hoops. He calls me up, and I was like, I haven't talked to you in a while. I'm like, Coach, what the heck do you want? You know, I mean, I thought maybe he needed something, needed some help. I had no idea he was calling me about coming back to play. And then once he said why he called, I'm like, it's a no-brainer. I got to do this.
Jesse Bosnik broke single-season records in batting average and home runs at Elk County Catholic High School. He'd also become the only basketball player there to ever eclipse the 2,000-point mark. For the betterment of his future, Bosnik decided it was best to stick to the baseball diamond, so he attended Division I St. Bonaventure University. He flourished there, and he'd go on to get drafted by the Los Angeles Dodgers in the 13th round of the 2010 Major League Baseball Amateur Draft, becoming the 12th Bonnie ever to be drafted out of the program.
I've always had this conversation. It was fun. I was down in Orlando, Florida with my son in an AAU tournament, and we were talking about guys that had were good high school basketball players but played other sports, but mainly football. Just having that conversation, and then we had lost someone in the summertime due to some admissions situation, and so we needed somebody, and I ran into the coach at Penn State Du Bois who knew Jesse, and he brought his name up, and I said, ask him how his baseball career was doing, and he just said, you know what, he just retired like a month or two ago. So the bell went off, and I said, I tracked his number down and got in contact with him, and he thought it was a joke at first, and but here's a guy that hadn't really played basketball in any type of organized structure for 6 years. It was he knew it was going to take a lot of work, and but he knew it was also an opportunity that he couldn't pass on.
The first thought was like, holy smokes, I'm 25, nowhere near in basketball shape. I'm used to running hard, 90 feet, 180 feet, stuff like that. So I got to get in shape, wheels started turning. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this.
Physical endurance was one thing, but since graduating from St. Bonaventure, Bosnik's only non-athletic commitment was when he worked as a logistics analyst after retiring from pro baseball.
The hard transition was, being a student. I came in and not used to studying and stuff like that for 4 or 5 years. It's just, a totally different routine and rhythm. And I was like, man, what the heck am I doing? I was making money a couple weeks ago, and now I'm sitting here, trying to read some books and stuff.
It may remain unclear to some people why Jesse retired from baseball at such a young age, but to him, the choice made sense.
The Dodgers were going through a ownership change, and those things were a mess, and then the new owners came in, and they were kind of selling the farm, trading a lot of guys, and I didn't get traded. I'm sitting there like, you know what, I'm probably not going to play in the big leagues for the Dodgers because of the way we were going. They were buying free agents and getting the highest named players, so I was like, that's probably not going to be me. And 2 years went by, I didn't get traded. I'm like, I'm kind of stuck here, and I felt like, maybe it's time to go. I have my degree. I went back and got my degree, something I'm really proud of because very few guys do that after they leave. I'm going to go, get a job and start, real life. It's time to grow up. So that's why I was coming out.
As Bosnik has been faced with a handful of life-challenging decisions over the years, his teammates and coaches will be the first to tell you that they're more than happy his decision led him to become a Crimson Hawk.
In some ways, he presents himself as a grown man. You don't have to get on him, for some maturity issues that you may have to address with some of the other guys.
He knows he's not going to have a big role scoring or whatever, but just his unselfishness and his passion for the sport. He doesn't care about how many minutes he's going to play. He's not thinking about himself. He's always thinking about the team and trying to get us better and trying to do anything that coach asks him.
Though he doesn't quite produce on the court the way he did as a high school superstar, Coach Lombardi describes Bosnik using a word that turns even every role player into a standout.
Well, professionalism, that's a big word in sports, whether you're getting paid or not. But professionalism is just being disciplined, knowing having a great work ethic, being disciplined to do what you have to do, understanding the value of teamwork and working together. And Jesse brings all that. So leaders usually come from within over time, and they usually come from performance. But so Jesse's leadership isn't as outward and necessarily as vocal as some of the other guys, and the expectations on him aren't as great. But he's a silent leader. He leads by example. He understands the mental preparation, and I think that type of sharing of the mindset to have is his way of bringing leadership to the team.
He's always bringing that spark of energy, and that's what we need from him. That's what we need from him and from other guys too. But he's just so focused, and he always make a play. He might not make an offensive play, but if he's there 2 minutes, 3 minutes, he's gonna make a defensive play. He's gonna take a charge. He's gonna make a stop. He's gonna get a rebound. He always brings that thing that a team needs. The little things that we need in a game.
Basketball was one thing, but what excited Jesse more than anything else was the opportunity he had to jumpstart his life after school.
Well, the opportunity to get my MBA is what made it such an easy choice. That's going to help me out tenfold, hopefully, in my career path. Give me an advantage over my peers.
As life goes on for Jesse Bosnik, he wants to be sure that he stays involved in the world of sports.
I'll probably go back home and maybe do a little coaching, but we'll see what happens when I get home and try it out.